Abby Hernandez's journey from abduction to freedom. If you are an absolute fan of crime thrillers, then you might have witnessed it in many movies about how often the victim gets out of the grips of the abductor with the power of their minds. One mistake from the criminal and the victim uses that for their advantage. This might be a tale of most crime thrillers, but real life always comes up with more thrills and, of course, twisted endings. A similar case happened with a 14-year-old high school girl in 2013, which is still regarded as one of the most unbelievable true crime cases of all time. Welcome to AF Crime, the channel that brings you fascinating crimes all around the world. If you're interested in this kind of content, then this channel is for you. Make sure to like this video, click on the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell to keep you updated on our recent uploads. Now, let's get right into the video and investigate the crime scene of Abby Hernandez. Abigail Hernandez, or Abby Hernandez, was an intelligent high school student who used to live in North Conway, New Hampshire, with her sister Sarah and mother Xenia, who was a nurse. She was an excellent student, and everyone in her class knew that she was very passionate when it came to her academics. Unlike most teenagers, she was quite concerned about her academic performance, and that's why she had set a routine of her own. With mutual agreement, her mother, who herself was a working woman, set her curfew time at 7 p.m. Abby wasn't fond of partying, so mostly she used to follow the time routine and came home by 7. It was that fall afternoon of October 9th, 2013, when Abby's school ended. She had recently been admitted to Kenneth High because of the school's excellent reputation. As she started walking home, she became cautious because she found that someone was following her. Though she seemed a bit concerned, her fears soon dissolved, as this was a road that was often used by most of the high school students and their parents. She kept on walking, and eventually she felt that the vehicle that was following her came too close. Before she could have escaped or called someone, the person in the car, who seemed to be a middle-aged man, forced her to move into his car without putting any resistance. He did this by showing her a gun and threatened that if she tried to shout or escape, he would not resist, slitting her throat right there. Abby knew how putting resistance in these situations was equivalent to forcing more danger, so she complied with the orders silently and sat inside the captor's car. As she entered, the guy handcuffed her immediately and used a jacket to cover her head so that no one could recognize her. He also demanded her phone and broke that up instantly to avoid any GPS tracing. He further pulled her back as she tried to find where she was being taken. Roughly as they reached 30 miles away from North Conway, the captor pulled off the vehicle in front of a grim-looking home that was located in Gorham. He pulled Abby outside the car while keeping the jacket in front of her eyes all the time. He then took her inside and tagged her eyes to make sure that she was unable to perceive her surroundings. Right after that, he threw a t-shirt over Abby's head and covered her mouth and head with a helmet. After this, he raped her for about an hour or so. Poor Abby was unable to think of anything, so the best thing she could think of in such a situation was the act of bargaining. She said that she won't tell anyone about this if the man lets her go back. She was hopeful that the guy was going to accept that. But the captor didn't show any mercy at all. She even said to the guy that she wasn't going to judge him for his actions, and she thought that he wasn't a bad guy at all. Yet, the captor remained disinterested in whatever she used to say. He rather locked her in a container-based store located at the back of his house's yard, where he used to assault her verbally and physically multiple times. Abby knew that there was no way out for her because this was never going to end. She even became so afraid at one point that she started getting fearful of even God leaving her side in this situation, which she didn't want. Abby had seen multiple cases like this one on TV and knew that such abductions often ended in murders if no one came to help. She was so disappointed that she had no other hope left within her except a miracle. All she wanted at that point was to live, so she did everything that was demanded of her because she couldn't risk her life by resisting. During all this time, Abby was unaware of her captor's name and knew him by the name of Master. It was a title that was told to her by her captor. He also tucked a shock collar in her neck so that she was unable to make any noises or get any sort of attention. He even tested the use of the collar on her as he called her to shout, and when she did, she fell in an excruciating wave of shock running through her body. So, this was when Abby found that any type of resistance against the captor was unnecessary because he could even kill her in his madness. Throughout this time in the container, she got one thing about her captor. He was somehow involved in counterfeiting currency notes. She found that right from the workshop of the captor, where he used to print counterfeit money. After some time, she even started helping her captor a little bit to survive by printing counterfeit money. During this time, Abby didn't establish any contact with her mother Xenia, who was worried dead about her. Xenia got there instantly from the moment when Abby was unable to return by 7 p.m. She thought that something was not right because that was never like Abby to escape without information, so she filed a missing person complaint. Yet from October, when Abby was lost, to the next 3 months, there wasn't a single trace of Abby in the area. This was the same time when the police forces started taking interest in the case due to media pressure and came up with a team of experts. Of course, this was also found by the captor of Abby, so he instructed her to write a letter back home. When Abby wrote that letter, she also scratched the address a bit with help of her nails. Unfortunately, this was found by her captor, who tore the letter and ordered her to write a new one. This new letter from Abby was a one-liner where Abby wrote, "I miss you, Mom, but I won't tell you where I am." Xenia was dumbfounded by the strange response coming from her daughter. She knew that it was unlikely Abby would run away, so she showed the letter to the cops, where the FBI got involved, and Special Agent Karen Ramsey reported that it seemed that Abby was in grave danger, as it was evident from the context of the letter that someone was clearly manipulating her. Now that that letter was being found, one thing worked well for Abby and her family through this. Abby was able to share the indirect message that was completely okay where she was. This also relieved Xenia, who feared a very horrible situation in the end, and now both Xenia and the search teams were excited to find any details about Abby. On the contrary, Abby worked quite cleverly with the captor and started depicting interest in his life. Soon, her captor handled the task of counterfeiting the money, and both started working as a team for a little while. During this time, Abby tried a lot of times to escape, but was always caught by the captor. Yet, another good thing happened amidst all of this. Abby finally got her captor's name. It happened unexpectedly when the captor gifted her a cookbook. Right on the front page, he got the name Nate Kibbe. When she asked the man, he simply confessed that it was his name. That was how she found the name of Nate Kibbe. 9 months passed like this until one day, a woman named Lauren Mundy called Kibbe and threatened him that she had found that the notes she had taken from Kibbe were counterfeited, and she would report that to the cops. This made Kibbe very afraid. He knew that he had no place to escape if cops came to check on him and found Abby there. Then he would be in hot water, so he thought of escaping from this house till things got better. He also took Abby along with him, and just a few steps before Abby's home, he dropped her back home upon the condition that she was not supposed to tell the cops or anyone about him. Abby was equally surprised and afraid that the newly found freedom, and she didn't want to waste this one chance that she had gained after a gruesome wait of 9 months. So she agreed without any reluctance. Upon reaching her doorstep, things felt new to Abby because she was kept in a windowless, dark container for 9 months, where there was not a single trace of sunlight. So, this was the first time when she felt the significance of the little things like birds chirping and the sun rays beaming at her. Upon knocking on the door, her mother Xenia opened up the door and was shocked to see her daughter back on the 20th of July 2014, just when they had given up hope of seeing Abby again. Indeed, it was huge news for the people of the town and the cops too. Yet Abby knew how much to tell. She told everyone the tale of her abduction, but never revealed the name of the abductor. She even helped the cops in sketching the abductor, but never revealed his actual identity because she was still dealing with the trauma. She only confessed to a single person to whom she revealed everything and the raw truth. She told Xenia, her mother, that the guy who had abducted her was Nate Kibbe, and gave information about his home address. Xenia understood the trauma of her child, but she didn't want to take any chances on the safety of Abby, so she immediately informed the cops about Nate's whereabouts, and he was finally arrested on the 27th of July, 2014. After the arrest was made, Nate was initially charged with kidnapping charges, and soon charges like second-degree assault and sexual assault were added to the list. Initially imprisoned on a $1 million bond, Nate spent 2 years in prison, and right after that, he finally pleaded guilty to the felony charges along with the charges of assault. Upon this, he was sentenced to 45 to 90 years of imprisonment. One exceptional moment was when Abby appeared before Nate in the court and confessed that though it was hard for her, she forgives the offender on her part because she wants to move away from this nightmare, and only when she will let go of the memories of the incident, only then she can move ahead in her life. Abby stayed true to her word and eventually took up the role of a hairdresser. At present, she's 24 years old and a mother to a beautiful son. In one interview, she revealed that she's finally moving past the incident, as this made her realize the significance of life in its truest form. She now wants to enjoy every moment of her life because her abduction taught her how delicious the taste of freedom is. Abby's case is still regarded as one of the most extraordinary abduction cases in the history of such cases. In fact, an FBI profiler, Brad Garrett, confessed that if he ever wrote a book on the victim's dealings with abductions, he would surely be adding Abby's case as the foremost chapter, because Abby's wisdom of not resisting and befriending her abductor somehow helped her to escape in the end instead of being killed. A movie named Girl in the Shed, The Kidnapping of Abby Hernandez, has also been released, which was highly appreciated by the critics. Well, when you think of the fact that they fictionalized all whatever Abby had to face in reality, it gives you goosebumps because not everyone is lucky enough to make it out safe till the end. Now, if you feel that this case was an intriguing one, like this video and share it with all your friends. Also, subscribe to our AF Crime channel for finding more shocking tales around the world. And if you have any criminal case that you'd like me to investigate, share it in the comment section below.